I'm Garrett Mathagani. Welcome into the Bulldog Blitz. I'm in with the head coach of the Anniston Bulldogs, Eddie Bullock. And Coach, we talked about Aniana last week, one of the better teams in this region. You were able to come back on senior night and get a big win, 27-17. Just your overall thoughts about the way everything transpired Friday night.
Well, the guys played tough. We had a senior night, of course, and we had a pretty solid game plan together. And basically, we just executed. We played like we were capable of playing all year long, and we had a minimal mistakes, and we just played well.
Absolutely. We've talked so many times about the toughness of this team, and every now and again, that can come off as just you're just saying that to compliment your guys. You were being serious about it. You knew that this team was tough, and the way that it manifested Friday night was with a W.
Absolutely. We as I mentioned, we had 2 great weeks of preparation, even with the loss at Hoax Bluff, and then this week the guys came in and. I was so proud of them because they were so extremely positive. Right. It's kind of hard to keep guys' spirits up when you only have 1 win, in your season. But, for some reason, I just saw something different in their eyes, and they just played solid. We didn't make a whole lot of changes on either side of the football. We just played solid football.
And it's got to be satisfying as a coach to understand that even though the result is not what they want to on Friday night, on each and every Friday night, they can still come back and practice, prepare, and be able to get those wins on Fridays.
Well, that's one of your toughest points. As I mentioned, getting guys to come in, it's easy when you're winning and you're going to playoffs and, everything is falling in line. But, I feel like a true test of your character is, when things are not going right or you facing a little adversity, you find out those guys and coaches and fans and all, you find out the individuals that are going to support you regardless. And with the guys that we got left, on the football team, they've been extremely positive, and I think that contributed a great deal to us winning that game Friday night.
You're playing a lot of young guys because of injury, and mainly because you had to get a lot of these young guys in and being able to get some varsity reps and really learn on the fly. And a lot of those guys, I'm guessing, have been maturing throughout the season.
Yes, we started about 4, maybe 5 ninth graders on defense, and then we have at least, I want to say, between 4 and 5 sophomores, combination of sophomores and freshmen on offense. So, they getting a valuable reps, game experience, because it's a difference at junior high and varsity level, and they getting some extremely important reps, for next year. So, I'm proud of that also.
And your seniors got a big win at their last game at home. How satisfying was that for you?
Well, we told the guys that, don't look at the record, just look at Aniana and Fort Payne as our playoff games, and, go out on a high note. Right. And, I basically explained to them that the one thing that they'll remember their last home game on the field as seniors, I said, you'll think about other moments and key points in your career at Anniston, but the one thing that I know you'll remember is your last game. So you want to make that a good memory.
Absolutely. They certainly did that over at Lot Mosley Memorial Stadium. You'll see how they got it done. The Anniston Bulldogs, a big win over the Aniana Redskins in region play. First half highlights are next here on the Bulldog Blitz. First half highlights here on the Bulldog Blitz. Coach talked about your guys being able to come out on fire, but it's one of those things where Aniana caught the fire early and you had to make some adjustments.
Right. We started off the game, in my 4-man front on defense, and they kept, Coach was pretty smart. They kept running the ball to the left side. We had a 9th grade linebacker on that side, and he kept misreading his key. And as you can see right here, we had Mario Dobbins at safety, and we actually stacked the box on him, but we didn't get anybody to cover the number 2 receiver, which that should have been the safety's job. And he was late getting over there, and they checked out and threw a quick seam route to him, and he scored. But of course, we got the ball and came right back, and we were moving the ball pretty well. Rio had a great game right there. You can see him eluding traffic, and we got behind the defense right there, and we actually ended up with an interception. If he'd have put a little bit more on it, we might have scored right there. But this second series here, I went to my three-man front, and we forced a fumble, was getting great penetration on him, and we actually had made him punt. In this situation right here, we got the ball back, and of course you see right there we hit Torian Sizemore on a hitch because they were playing off so far, and he just fought and ended up scoring on this particular play, and we kicked the point after and scored on it. And of course you see right here, they ran a quick hitch, but Derek McElderry, the cornerback number 4, he made a tremendous play. He came up. He had a solid game all night, and of course you can see right here we was taking advantage of the short passes. We hit Jamari West right here. He makes a great run. He's pretty elusive on the inside, and we roll out again on this side, and Rio sees daylight, and we get Jamari West behind the linebacker at that particular time because Aniana were not putting anyone inside in the middle of the field.
Right.
And of course, we at halftime, we basically was up 14-7. And we felt pretty comfortable about what we were doing.
Absolutely. 14-7, as you see, is your halftime score. And, Coach, this is another one of those times where you took a lead going into halftime. And so far throughout the season, you've been able to coach some of your young guys in the first half, and then you make some of the adjustments at halftime, and they come out better in the second half. That's been a staple of your team, I would say, for the last maybe 4 or 5 years. What was the message this time at halftime that you took a touchdown lead?
Well, I told them I was very satisfied with how they played, and what I always try to do is explain to them the reason why the first half took place the way it did. And I basically told them that, we were not making playing proper technique.
Right.
In our 4-man front, and of course that was Caleb Jennings. He's a 9th grade linebacker, and you have to live with the growing pains there. So basically what I did was I switched the front up, and went to my 33 stack to give him some protection on both sides and still let him play without killing his confidence. And then I just told the guys to just continue to do what they were doing, just play hard because, it was only a couple of minor mistakes. The offense scored 14 points, so they were playing well. And had we, done what we were supposed to do, that halftime lead would have probably been 14-0.
Right, and it speaks to your acuity as a coach, being able to understand that freshman's in that spot and letting him still play the way he plays. But it's also credit to him as well, being able to go in and still execute, doing somewhat new things what he hasn't been doing the previous games.
Right, you don't want to, he's going to be a great player for us. Even next year, I can see big things out of him as a sophomore. And what you don't want to do as a coach, you get so caught up into wins and losses, and you kill the morale of the guys that are coming up for the future years, And you have to understand that it's a big maturity gap between 8th and 9th grade or middle school and varsity football.
Right.
So I wanted to keep him in, and at the same time, not hurt the team and get us where we needed to go. And he's that kind of kid. He accepted it well, and he just got better as we went on.
Absolutely. We always talk at this time of the show about adjustments, things that that Aniana was doing going into this game, things that you saw on film from the previous games that they've played. What were some of the maybe adjustments you had to adjust to, if any at all?
Well, I really didn't have to make any adjustments because, Coach Jacobs been doing the same thing. He's been there quite a while, and, coaches are creatures of habit also, and they basically gonna do what they do. They may have a wrinkle or two in there that they throw in, but for the most part, teams are going to do what their identity is. They're going to just do it, and so I basically just told the guys, if we make that adjustment, because if you notice in the first half, they kept running off the left side.
Right.
So I told them once we make the adjustment and let them make the checks, we just gonna play fast, play hard, have gap integrity, and do your assignment.
Absolutely. 14-7 is your score at halftime. A great first half and even better second half. The Anniston Bulldogs putting away a big win over Aniana. You'll check out the second half highlights coming up. But the last bland performance going into the final regular season game of the season. You'll check out those highlights and that performance next here on the Bulldog Blitz. Up 14-7 at half, the Anniston Bulldogs got the football back against Aniana. Coach, talk about some of the things you saw early here in this third quarter.
Well, we won the toss and we deferred, and of course right here with Jaquez Maynard, we got a pretty good return from him, and we just didn't do well. We went a little backwards on our drive, and then of course we didn't block right on the punt. And right here you can see it's just a fluke play. That's a ninth grader right there, Kyrie Maynard. He turned his back to the returner, the guy that was actually supposed to have been blocking him, and that guy's a senior, and he made a smart play. He just came by, scooped the ball up, and scored. And so, we kind of started off bad, but I wanted to stay positive. And right here, you can see Jamari West gives us a good field position on the return. And, of course, we went back to work. We throw a slip screen right there. That's Hunter Rouse. He's a 10th grader. And he moves the chain. That was third down right there, so that was a pretty big-time play right there. And, of course, we went back to Jamari West right here, and he makes a great run right here. Now, we're just moving the football, very well. And then, of course, we got Torian Sizemore right here behind the defense, and Mario found him and hit him on a pass, and we go up again. So, they're playing pretty positive, and right here you can see the defense. Of course, we changed the front, but you can see the guys pretty much swarming, doing what we need them to do. Cassius Carter right there, number 25, he played an outstanding game. He's a senior. It's his last game, and he kind of gave him fits on the outside rushing and all. He forces a sack right here from Mike linebacker, and we got the ball back again, and we kind of stalled on that drive. And Hunter Rouse, who caught the pass a while ago, gave us a great punt right there, and we kind of got a little lax on the coverage, but we made a big hit. Right here, we got a little bit out of line again. Stack linebacker had the B-gap containment, and he went outside, and of course, he let Aniana quarterback. He read it well, and you can see we swarming to the football again. It's Cassius Carter, and we actually defensively only gave up 3 points. They kicked the field goal right here and were able to go up, but if you just looking at the second half overall, we did a great job. And right here, Aniana tried an onside kick, and we were prepared for it. Early in the season, we might have gave that up. And, of course, we came right back here again, and Torian Sizemore got behind the defense again. And, that was one of the focal points we looked at, those guys matching up with our guys on that side. And we kind of picked them apart right there. And as you can see, when you're up on the scoreboard, guys, they make plays. They swarm into the football. Right. They get excited, and we just defense just took over right here. We forced them to punt the ball several times. They just couldn't get anything off. We got the ball back right here, and of course you see Jeremy McCants. He's running the football very well. He ran hard. We needed a big first down on one, and this was the play that sealed the game right here. We were trying to run the clock out, and basically we ran a naked boot to Rio. We were faking the lead because they were stacking the box, and I had him to boot the ball out to the weak side and put him in a one-on-one situation with the linebacker, and he beat him and got the first down. They didn't have any more timeout, so we knew we could take a knee in.
As you mentioned, that sealed it up. It sealed up a 10-point win, 27-17 at home in the senior night game for all your seniors. Satisfying win overall. Second half, it seemed to me that the aggressiveness was at a much steadier pace. They were able to play a lot more free and a lot more aggressive because they had, number one, you had the lead,
right.
and two, it was kind of a product of the way they've been playing all year long, but it's almost magnified, I guess is the right word, when you do have a lead the way you did.
Well, it's a confidence issue. If you up, you have to look at players. You have certain players that are gritty, and when they down, they dig a little bit deeper, and then you have some players that when they down, they're not playing bad, but they're not playing with confidence.
Right.
And so basically, once they tied the score, I challenged them on the sideline, and I told them that was not a defensive mistake. It's just, we had a young guy that, just got a little laxed on his, duty on the punt team. I said, but defensively, if we go out here and shut them down, we'll still be fine. Because our goal was not to give up a touchdown the second half, in which we didn't. We only gave up one field goal. And, they had a great kicker, and he made a great, field goal. But, they were swarming to the football, and they did everything we asked them to do.
Rio Dobbins, we saw this kind of in that first game where he threw for over 200-something yards, and then this past game, are you seeing maybe a chemistry, maybe a symbiotics going in where the receivers and he are on the same page, and whether it's Sizemore or West, being able to get behind the defense, short routes, long routes, they're able to find each other?
Well, I think he's getting a little bit more relaxed. Now, it's ironic because he told me during the week, I asked him, was he focused? And he told me, yeah. He said, Coach, I'm probably going to go out and set some records, And he meant that, in actuality. But when we started playing, if you know your personnel, you can look at them and tell. And I just basically told him, I said, on certain things, we were rolling the pocket for him some. And I just told him, I said, you got to play some backyard football. I gave the receivers some choice routes. So a lot of those routes that you've seen, they were routes that we gave them, but we told them, if the defensive back play you like this, then do this.
Right.
And he'll find you, And we actually had 2 or 3 times that, he was busy scrambling that he didn't find him, because we could have easily scored 2 or 3 more touchdowns.
Right, and I think that's probably one of the most impressive things when it comes to quarterback and receiver, whether it's a combination, is being on the same page, because a lot of times where you break on one route, you think maybe 5 yards instead of 7 yards or 15 yards instead of 20 yards. You could be on the same different pages, but it says a lot they were on the same page.
Right, and that comes with time also, and you have to understand that really at the varsity level, this is Rio's first time actually just being totally in control, running the team, and that's something they usually, you go through the things during the first, maybe your junior year, and then your senior year you got it ironed out, or you go through it your sophomore year, and then your junior, senior year you just take off. Where it's not a fluke that happened. It's that year of preparation where you're talking no preparation, maybe spring game, and then you got to throw him in, and so you got to get him where he wants to play the position. You got to get him confident, and we had no doubt he could play like he played. I mean, he's very elusive, and when we get him in open space, you can't hit him.
Absolutely. The senior playing a great game in his final game at home. The next game is on the road against Fort Payne, the final one to end the season. We'll talk about that game coming up next here on the Bulldog Blitz. Welcome back to the Bulldog Blitz. We'll talk now about the Week 10 game. And, Coach, you've always scheduled non-region games to be pretty tough games. And Fort Payne, they're falling on hard times this season. Traditionally, a great school and a great football team. Talk about the trip to Fort Payne coming up this week.
Well, Fort Payne, of course, traditionally they're a tough ball club. And, the thing about it is most your average football fan don't understand the fact that, players and how well a player plays and how talented a player is play a big role in those wins and streaks to the playoffs and all. And right now, Fort Payne is going through a situation similar to us. The talent level may be a little bit down, but expectations are high.
Right.
And Coach Ellis, he and I are good friends. We coached an All-Star game together, and he's just going through tough times just like I am. And basically when I talk to him, I just tell him, hey, man, you got to keep your head up, because, you're going to go through situations like that. And, you just got to play. But, this past week, Fort Payne beat Pell City.
Exactly.
And you got to understand that Pell City has a great football team. I mean, a great football team. So when you're able to beat a team of that caliber, you know that the football team has potential.
Right. And you hit on my next point really dead on. They beat Pell City, a good, big physical team that you'd seen before. And, you guys had beat Aniana, a good, big physical team that they had seen before as well. to me, both teams are similar in the fact that you guys in Fort Payne, in the fact that there's no rollover. I mean, you might see the record is one thing, but there's a lot of fight and a lot of toughness with these guys.
Right. And you know, it'll be extremely, I think it's going to be a great game for the simple fact that it's going to be their senior night. And then, of course, you know, we focus pretty well on the road.
Right.
You know, when we get away from distractions, we focus pretty well. And then, you know, you have your teams right there pretty much talent-wise at the same level. So basically, I think it's going to boil down to who make fewer mistakes.
Absolutely. I'm sure whenever you and Coach Ellis get on the phone, you talk about this game.
Right.
You're both talking about it in the sense that, hey, this will be a great game to prepare for the playoffs. Now, do you look at this game as a great way to prepare for 2017 season, where you kind of get a springboard into next year?
Right, and it's ironic you say that because when I talked to Coach Jacobs, you know, I told him, I said, the past years, I said, did you ever think Anderson and Aniana would be playing for pride?
Right.
You know, versus some kind of seeding in the playoffs. And it was the same conversation with Coach Ellis. You know, it's like, you know, did you ever think that we would be finishing out a season,
right,
trying to motivate our players for next year? And we kind of laughed about it, but you know, it is what it is. You just got to take it and roll with it. And I think it's going to do wonders for both of us. You know, and actually, I gave him a hard time because he didn't want to schedule me this year. And I told him, I said, Coach, you beat me last year, so I mean, I don't understand it. He said, well, Coach, I'm going to be down talent-wise. I said, Coach, hey, when I'm down, I still play.
Right,
so,
right.
You know, I kind of twisted his arm a little bit to get him to do the 2-year deal with us. And it's all in fun. But
absolutely. And I'm pretty sure he's glad now he took the game as well, because it's also for them, I would guess, about the same thing, a springboard into next year.
Right, and that's basically what we're doing. You know, we're going to go up that Friday night, close out the season, and try to come back home with a win.
This is the last week of preparation as well, the last time to get your guys in for 3 strong practices and a walkthrough on Thursday before closing out the season on Friday. What's the message to some of the older guys that have been through the fire, and then some of the younger guys that are looking from not only this week but going into spring practice in 2017?
Well, I tell the entire team, the seniors basically, I tell them to have fun. Just have fun, you know. Don't go out and make it a burden or be depressed about it. You know, the season, there's nothing we can do about what happened behind us. The season is what it is.
Right.
You know, that's it. I said, but what you can do, I stress to the seniors to learn life lessons. There's got to be something out here we taught you about life and furthering your education and being able to go out in the real world and be a team player. And to the younger guys, I tell them to learn from the mistakes that we made, you know, and don't take it personal or take it individually,
right,
but you know, take it collectively as a team and learn that we trying to do what it takes to build back the Bulldog pride and put us back where we typically used to be, and you know, just building a program.
Absolutely. And I would think also for your coaching staff, this is a great, I guess, another clarifying thing where they can take what they've learned this year and then put it into next year's system as well.
Well, most of the coaches been used to winning.
Right.
You know,
right.
I've been at Anderson when we really been on top of the mountain, and you know, I've been there when we actually, you know, back with a couple of coaches, Mayhan, Coach Justice, and them. You know, no criticism, but when we had the 1-win season, the 2-win season, like I'm having now, so you know, it doesn't affect me a whole lot because I've been there. And I tell the coaches, you know, you just have to learn that when it's going good, kind of stay even keel, and when it's going bad, don't panic, you know, because you know it's not going to always be that way. It's just, it depends on the talent level and how well you coach, and the player's going to reflect you.
Absolutely. Final question quickly. If you're looking at one thing when you break down this film next week, what is one thing that you want to see that you do well going into next year?
Make sure we'll line up correctly and we attack. Fort Payne gave us problems last year. They would give us a pro-type formation, and then they would go to an unbalanced formation, and it kept messing us up. We couldn't make the adjustment, even though we lost by 1 point, I believe. But, you know, had we made adjustments a little better than that, we probably could have came out with a victory last year. But, you know, I'm hoping we prepare for that this year. And we've been doing some things the last couple of weeks, you know, with formation recognition.
The Bulldogs against a traditional power in Fort Payne in Week 10 to close out the 2016 season. Go out to Fort Payne and support the Anniston Bulldogs after a huge win over Aniana. We'll also congratulate the seniors coming up next week on the Bulldog Blitz. We'll see you then. Bye.